I like to tell people I'll do whatever makes rent. And that just so happens to be a lot of those things I really enjoy doing, and I've been very proactive in like developing those skills, because if I'm doing something, I want to do it well. So I compose, I arrange, I'm a performer, as well as an educator. I really, really enjoy teaching. I come from a family of educators. My mother and my sister are both educators. My dad volunteered at a prison teaching decision making, and my grandmother also did some kind of social work. So like really serving students and younger students is like really important to me. My mom was my first music teacher. She was the minister of music at our church, and she had a piano, and I loved to go in there and bang on it. And my mom says that she started teaching me lessons so that she would have to hear less banging. And so I started on piano. I stayed on piano for a time, and then I picked up saxophone with our school's music program. I like telling the story because it was a tall office building that had been converted into a school, and the elevator was frequently broken, and I got tired of carrying the saxophone up and down the stairs, so I quit. And then in middle school, I wanted to be in band and I wanted to be around people that were doing music, and so I did like a music beginners class, and after like that quarter or that first half of the year, I was in band because I took to the flute so quickly. I've really struggled to put it into words. I can be a very cerebral person. I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it. I think I tend to be a very cerebral person, but I'm doing this very artistic thing that I feel like is innate and integral to who I am, and music makes sense to me. There's a lot of reason and I think like math behind it and a lot of logical things, but I think it's great that that output gets to be something that's artistic, that other people enjoy, and that I can connect with them. So I wouldn't necessarily call it an escape for me. I know that it is for other people, but it's just a way that I appreciate, another way that I appreciate that I can express myself and communicate with people. I have this cognitive dissonance. I don't think that I'm necessarily different than anyone else. I do think we are all the same, but I do know that there are things that make us each unique, and as an educator, there are things for each individual student, as an example, that I have to pay attention to and teach to if I want to help them realize their best potential. I'll say, because I was raised in the church, that and like a jazz like sound in the pieces that I have composed, they're very heavily there. And I don't have the time that I would like to develop my compositional voice. And so I don't know, maybe sometimes I'm frustrated by the fact that that's what my ear gravitates to, even though I would like to express myself compositionally in a different way. But at the end of the day, I really still appreciate that background, and it really is integral to who I am and my musicianship. So this is it. Sometimes I take a look at it. It says like Louis Lot on it right now. There's a serial number, but this is so old that it's starting to rub off. And so I hope that stays on there for as long as possible as proof of what it is. But yeah, this is essentially it. Like I said, modern flutes, there's an extra key here that goes down to low B, so it's a bit longer, so it's more metal. That's what makes it heavier. Some other flutes, there's an extra key here. It's just very simple. I think the flute is 1959. So yeah, this is as it was. The lip plate, I was talking about the lip plate. This is the part that pops off. This is what La Femme would have put on. Louis Lot would make flutes out of nickel. It's more common for flutes to be made out of nickel then, and they were very, very good. An instrument that's made out of nickel today would not sound very good, which I think is just a testament to his flute making. Mine is made out of complete silver. These can be made out of any different kinds of metals. There are, what are they called? Composites. There are composites I've seen out of gold and copper. But this is just a simple silver flute, which is also why I think it's so special. I don't need the bells and whistles right now. I don't need the bells and whistles and different kinds of metals and whatnot to get the sound that I want. It is good as it is for me. When you're on a gig and something happens or something happens to your instrument and you know that you need it in the future, you're thinking about like what next. I don't know, it is peace of mind. The number of times that I went through TSA and they said to me that this could be a pipe bomb. Me being like, it's not. And I've heard some horror stories of instruments getting damaged because they took it out and something contentious happened and they damaged the instrument trying to make sure that it's not. I'm sure any number of musicians, I've never had anything bad, like the worst has never happened to me, but I'm also willing to be the greasy, the squeaky wheel? Someone did try to take my flute out of my hands in just this and put it under the plane because there was no like overhead room or something. And I don't know how I got on that plane, but I did get on the plane with my instrument. They could have not let me fly, but they did. Yes, when you're traveling around, I don't know, there's just all these risks that you have to constantly be aware of. In my mind, if you're at a concert and someone walks up to you after the concert and like asks you the same questions you're asking me right now, what were you thinking? Why is this piece good? What's so difficult? How did you do that? How did you play that? That to me is educating, being able to speak to those things. So I think becoming a better educator also allowed me to think about what I'm programming and why it's important for the audience, or why is it enriching or helpful for them. What inspires me? My family inspires me, my support system inspires me, along with the Grieving Project. I think that I have been grieving my whole life. And because of that, or at least that is part of the vantage point that I see the world. And so because of that, I feel like society doesn't hold space for this thing that we all do, and hold space for this thing that we all do in times other than death. That is very important. That is very important, and actually holding space for loss of life in the ways that people want to grieve, and not how society tells them or expects them to grieve. And then you take that and add the dynamic of things that maybe we're not allowed to grieve, like the end of a relationship, the death of a pet, the change of your life trajectory because your health has impacted your body such that you can't do the things that you used to do. I see musicians who have injuries. They can't play their instrument anymore. That is a hard thing. There's a grieving process for that as you find out what else it is in your life that you can do that gives you purpose and helps you pay the bills. I feel like that lack of support that I have sometimes gotten earlier in my life, again, wanting to be the educator for other students that I feel like I needed and didn't get, but as I was realizing the project or starting to develop it, I heard that other people felt the same way. So clearly, if they're feeling the same way and they're going through this, then that made me want to do the project more, because it's something that, while we're all unique, that we have in common.